All right.
There, okay. So hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Aware Athlete Show. And we're so
Yeah.
privileged today to have as our guest Taslima Akhter. And she is an intuitive healer. She has an inspiring story and we're going to dig into that now. And Taslima, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And I receive, and it's an absolute honor to be having such an awesome conversation we look forward to, because I feel like we're aligned in a lot of our spiritual principles and beliefs that we try to adhere to. So yeah, I'm excited for this.
Good. We were just talking a moment ago about awareness, and I think there is no greater need in the world today than to increase awareness.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it has to start with us individually, right?
Yeah.
Before we start to focus on being aware of what's happening outside of us, we need to be aware of what's happening inside of us, right? And it's so important to make sure that we are really staying, aligned to ourselves and centered within ourselves, and not be so consumed by what's happening around us, which we tend to go down a rabbit hole, and we tend to feed into the fear, the scarcity, the lack, the anxiety, and the stress and depression, which is inevitable. Pandemic or no pandemic, uncertainties in life exist regardless. But I think that it's so important that we tend to really just come back to ourselves, come back to aligning with ourselves, because it's so easy for us to become so disconnected from our truth of who we are, and what is our goals and visions and things that we want to achieve through this.
Yeah, finding a practice of living from the inside out then.
Yeah, I mean, the only way out is in.
Right. That's the saying that that's absolutely true.
Yeah, it's like the only way out is in, because I mean, I think we've all been we all went through that before we really realized where the real work is needed. I think we all did so much. We just do. We're always in this hustle mentality. We're always in this frequency of like hustling, doing, and a to-do list, and we want structure. We are so much in our masculine energy throughout the day that we don't really, come to that position of that receiving mode, of really, really harnessing our feminine energy. I mean, male and female, we both do this. We're very much dominant on one side than the other, and we need to balance the both. And we're not in our, and I'm guilty of that too. I constantly have to check myself and say, where am I right now? Am I more in my masculine, or am I more in my feminine?
Yeah.
And this topic itself can take hours, right? About the whole balancing and, receiving versus doing, and, how to really apply that to our life, and how to align to truly attract what we want in our life. Because I mean, if you're going to plateau out, you're going to drain and deplete if you're always in one versus the other and there's no balance, right?
Right.
You're just going to clash and then deplete, drain, and depress, struggle, because you didn't allow yourself to sit back and trust that you've taken this, you follow the structure, you did. But then when you really, embody the frequency of saying it's done, I'm just going to allow it to come to me.
Yeah.
So
we're always blaming. We're angry when we start out, at least looking for external solutions and not finding our answers. And I was just listening to a wonderful presentation by a colleague of mine last night, and he was talking about living in a place that's not this and not that, but it's in the middle. It's not this and it's not that. Yeah.
And it's so important to honor wherever you are, right? We tend to judge ourselves so harshly, and we beat ourselves up and we, self-doubt. We already are so hard on ourselves. We judge ourselves, we beat ourselves up, we're so unforgiving to ourselves, we resent our own self, we put ourselves down. The way we even talk to ourselves, there's no self-empathy. There's no self-empathy. We don't say, oh, it's okay, you know what, I'll figure this out, I'm good right now, and then self-care. There's no self-care. We don't say, okay, you know what, I'm going to forgive myself for just sleeping half the day. I'm going to be a bum today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a day after. We don't really honor our emotions. We don't even allow ourselves to feel, because we fight those emotions.
Yeah.
We don't allow ourselves. And if you think about it, something came to me through this whole COVID thing, is that, I see Facebook posts of people saying, how upset they are, or how, worried they are, or how fear and anxiety and all these things. But there's one thing I haven't seen a lot of, which is, I am effing angry. I am done with it. I am livid. I am so over it. It's like so many people don't expose their emotions of anger, because we were somewhere, maybe in our growing up, we were shamed for being angry. We were
Yeah.
felt guilty for being angry.
Yeah.
We were, when anger is a real valid emotion, but we feel shame of expressing anger because people title you like something is wrong with you, or you need therapy, or you're imbalanced,
Right.
or anger. We're shamed for feeling anger.
Yeah.
And why? And I didn't understand is that so many people are angry, and it's rightfully so. You're stuck at home, you're irritated, kids are driving you nuts,
Yeah.
you're worried about your finances, you're worried about getting acclimated, adjusted, all of these things. But people don't honor anger. People are ashamed to say I'm angry, because anger is like some. I think, I remember when I was growing up, I remember if I was angry, I was sent to my room.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was, when I was
So you have,
angry, I wasn't allowed to feel angry.
so you have
Like I was
this
yeah.
external system of discipline imposed on you, rather than just having the resources, the inner
I
resources
mean,
to meet
yeah,
what arises.
why couldn't I just go to the backyard and just, scream a little bit? Why
Yeah.
couldn't I just punch a pillow? Why couldn't I just get it out? Because remember, when you don't release those emotions, they transpire in other ways.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then you accept, and they also become okay, so you accept it from others,
Mhm.
because our society doesn't really allow us to truly express anger.
Right.
Even with a child, if a child is angry, we scold them, right? We don't allow them to say, okay, you know what, beat it out, get it out right now, just release it. If you want to, like, draw something, scramble something, get it out, and then go, just be okay with it, we're done with it.
Yeah.
But and I just kind of feel like we need to really honor our emotions without judgment, and really just, I always say to clients that I work with is, I feel your feelings, but don't become them, right?
Right.
It's okay to feel them, but from a place of observing that, okay, what am I feeling right now? Okay, I'm feeling angry right now. Okay, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm just going to allow it to pass through me, because I know it's not permanent, right? I know that it's just an emotion. I'm going to honor it. I'm going to allow it sit with this uncomfortability, and I'm just going to practice it. I don't have to. I think we just need to move away from judging ourselves, from feeling whatever it is we're feeling. And all feelings are valid, and they should be honored,
Yeah.
and
I took a 4-year training in the Feldenkrais method, and Dr. Feldenkrais was a scientist. There's many, maybe you've heard of it, but there were many layers to his work. But the whole volume of his work was based on coming to a place where you don't do harm to yourself.
yeah.
So, and of course, he had over 1,000 movement lessons that he taught. So he used movement actually as a tool for you to observe and even interrupt your habitual patterns. And
Yeah, I mean, I think that physical movement should be such an integral part of our life because a lot of times we have, everything in life is energy,
Mhm.
right? Our life force is energy, right? Everything in life is energy and everything in life is about balance, right? Like the sun needs the moon, right? I mean, we have Mother Earth that's very balanced. We have male and female energy. We have male and female energy within each of us,
Mhm.
right? So everything in life is about, polarity and balance and everything. And I think that that's so important to not forget that. And that's another level of awareness, right? It's and you should move your body because you should let the energy flow through you and not just trap it in and hold it in and just repress it, because what happens over the years is that it becomes so innate, right? And it becomes so invisible to us that we don't even know all the stuff that we're carrying in ourself, in our mind, that we made so norm and normal. When did I always tell people, when did the norm become normal? Just because we accept it, that doesn't mean it's normal. If you
Yeah.
grew up seeing your parents fight and cursing at each other, it's not normal.
Yeah.
Just because it was normal,
Yeah.
right? Because it was norm for you, it's not normal.
Yeah.
So don't make what's normal, right? I mean, it's just, that's another level of awareness. I feel like so many people, including myself, is like I do so many things on a daily basis that I just do them because they're so innate and reflex that I don't even think about it.
So for you, what is the arc of growth, or what is the arc of spiritual development? We could talk about maturity. So there's physical maturity and then there's spiritual maturity.
Yeah,
They do intertwine because everybody starts as a baby.
of
But
course,
but when
of
you
course.
mature physically and become an adult, that doesn't mean that you are doing
No,
any real
no,
growth. Right.
no.
So for you,
It's
what is
real.
the arc of development? Where does it start, and how does it start for you, and how does it?
Oh, I would say definitely. That's such an awesome topic you touched upon. It's something that I always, always, always talk a lot about with people that I work with personally and professionally, is a choice. Everything is a choice.
No,
You have to choose, right?
and that,
We choose to have ice cream. We choose to get up in the morning and brush our teeth. We choose to go to work. We choose our friends. We choose, what we wear. We choose, our beliefs. We choose our beliefs. We do.
yeah,
And we choose our habits. We choose what we like or we don't like. We choose our mates. Everything is a choice. And then once we choose, we commit to that choice, right? And it's a commitment. And you have to ask yourself, well, what am I committed to? Right? What am I choosing right now? Right? What am I committed to? Am I committed to healing or am I committed to hurting? Am I committed to suffering? Am I committed to struggling? Am I committed to what am I committed to? What am I leaning more towards? Because if you're attracting more struggle into your life, then you're most likely more committed to struggling than not struggling,
yeah,
right? It's almost like somebody's trying to lose weight and they're like, oh, I just can't lose weight. And well, what are you more committed to, having that sugar or staying away from that sugar and losing that weight? Are you more committed to doing both? What are you committed to, right? Where are you leaning more, right? And it's that a level of awareness, right?
right,
It's the same thing with that thing we started off with. It's like, where are you more, masculine or feminine energy? Are you more in do and getting that checklist off, and then you feel like drained and you're on the hamster wheel and you do some more to you're so attached to the outcome and you want to make it happen and you're in the controlling energy? Or are you more in like, all right, you know, I took some steps and I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna, tomorrow I'll take more steps. I'm just focused on my goal every day and I'm taking the necessary steps to get closer to it. And it's a process. I think, as much as I can give someone the blueprint of how to succeed, ultimately you may have fear, beliefs, limiting things that are blocking you or they're coming up to the surface that are sabotaging you from getting closer to your goals. You may have thoughts, beliefs that you may not even be aware of, right? And this is where I'm sort of come in and step in to be able to point them, like find their blind spots, right?
Right.
And be able to shift that.
So do you have any tools or suggestions for people that are listening? How can they practice when awareness shines its light on you and you see some old patterns? You see maybe right now you see that you're maintaining some tension that comes from past habits that you would be happy to let go of. What kind of tools or suggestions do you have when you work with people that are listening?
Oh
How,
yeah,
how can they
absolutely, absolutely.
how can they
I
practice
always,
being kinder to themselves?
yeah. Oh, sorry. Did you lose me? Sorry.
I might have for a
No.
moment. Yeah. How
Sorry
can
about
people
that.
practice being kinder to themselves?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it's what I would definitely say is the most easiest thing to do, and I think people can have so much fun with this if they choose, is to really unapologetically write down what you want, right? Because it's very important to have a compass, right? A direction in focus and not be all over, right? Not borrow other people's success and ideas and lifestyles and compete, feel jealousy, competition. Why aren't you there yet? This pull and push energy. It's very important to ask yourself, sit with yourself, and just from your heart, what is it that you really want? What is it that you want? Maybe you want a nice condo up here. Maybe you want to be closer to your job. Maybe you want a nice soulmate. Maybe you want more clients. Maybe you want to buy that dream house. Like in every area of your life, right? Money, love, your investments, how much money you want to make everywhere. Just get clear on what it is that you want. And once you're very clear and it feels good to you, you feel excited about it, and that is your absolute truth, right? And you really feel good about it. Then the next thing to do is that, then ask yourself, okay, this is my North Star, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be. Well, what steps can I take each day to get to that big picture vision or that vision that I have? What can I do, each day or week to get closer to that goal? And also, how can I refine that, right? How can I refine that, focusing on that goal, right? Can you hear me?
I can. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Now it's stopped. Do you know what it
You
is?
mean feedback?
Yeah. And I really apologize for my internet connection. I've got the best that I can get in this town for a while, and we're going to get back up to a better connection. I'm going to turn off my phone here,
Oh, okay.
see if that helps. I don't know about yours.
Can you hear me though?
I can hear you. I was just getting a lot of feedback from it. Man, maybe it was dogs barking. I don't know.
Oh, you know what it is that it's on my side, because
Okay.
what happens is that they do this every time around this time at 7 o'clock. They do this thing for the health workers for the COVID. So right outside my window, everybody claps and rings the bell, and you
Okay.
hear door. And obviously, when the bell goes, the dog the
Okay.
dogs in the neighborhood
So
starts
yeah, so we
barking.
won't worry about it. It's not a technical issue then. Yeah.
It's not a technical issue. So because what happens is throughout the day at different time points, they plot for the healthcare workers
Mhm.
that are in the forefront of COVID care. So we just kind of honor that in my neighborhood in Manhattan.
Right. So you would advise people to look inside and write down specific things that they really want and examine those.
They really want, and it's not from their ego, right? I mean, I'm not gonna obviously gonna write, oh, I want 10 yachts, right? I'm obviously not gonna say things like that, but more some things that I really want, right? Maybe I want to travel to to multiple places. Maybe I want to go, sightseeing, and maybe I want to save some money for a dream house, or maybe I want to, what is it that you really want? And once you're clear about that, then what steps can I take to get closer to my goal?
Right.
And also, what am I currently tolerating that's not in alignment with where I'm trying to be?
Hmm.
What toxic environment, what friends or family even that are not supportive of my goals and visions, I need to really I need to really shift that from my fields, because otherwise they're going to hinder me from being where I want to be, because I'm not going to be I'm not going to be focused. I'm not going to be able to get there, right?
Right.
So it's very important to really, your environment is very important. So it's very important to really make sure, what am I tolerating, right? What am I focusing on? What am I thinking? What am I giving energy to that's not in alignment? Am I listening to too many people at my ear telling me, oh no, that you could never do that, oh that would never happen, oh it's going to take forever,
Yeah.
or just so many conflicting things that they introduce to you. Now your energy is so not aligned, and you're like chaos and anxiety and stress, and that kind of made you not be aligned to where you want to go, and it's hindering you from getting there at an accelerated pace. And and this is where you have to really, really say, okay, what am I tolerating that's not in alignment? What should I tolerate that's in alignment?
Right.
What am I choosing right now?
Right.
What choices do I need to make? What am
So,
I focusing on?
so
Right?
just,
That's not an alignment.
yeah. So just by
And it's an
shining,
everyday practice, by the way. It's not like once a week. It's an everyday practice. It's mindful and awareness as
right,
to, where am I right now? Am I focusing on my goals and my vision right now? Is this helping me? Is this hurting me? Is this where I need to be? Where
right.
am I right now?
So I think there's layers to being in the present moment. You can kind of be in the present moment, or you can be very sharply in the present moment. And
Yeah, I mean, I think you should do it from a place of being grounded, right? It shouldn't be that masculine energy of like, you should just be like, okay, it's all about vibration. It's all about energy. It's something that I myself do every day, and I'm not perfect at all, but, we're all human, but it's important to quickly come back and sort of recalibrate back to yourself and say, what am I choosing right now? What am I aligning to right now? What
yeah,
am I committed to right now?
and
What am I, what am I believing about myself right now?
so this
Right?
takes us back to what you mentioned earlier about feelings. You were talking about anger, and I think when you ask, "What am I feeling right now?" or "What do I want?" and those type of things, but where am I at right now? You're asking a question about possibly a thought, but a thought is a feeling, and a feeling is a thought. So a feeling of
Well,
dismay,
emotions and feelings are two separate things, right?
right?
Um,
You see, we think of thinking in terms of verbal thinking,
thoughts.
but there's thinking that occurs before we even have verbal ability, and it's a more primitive type of thinking. I think it's very much related to our feelings. Um, so I find that with a feeling, maybe you have a feeling, but you're not aware of quite what it is. Why do I feel unhappy right now? I don't know.
Well, that is,
Why do-
no, that's absolutely, that's such a brilliant thing you said, because, that is where you need to, that to me feels that when you're asking those questions, that kind of tells me that there's some disconnection happening.
Right.
You're not aligned. Your mind brain is not aligned with your heart
Absolutely.
brain, and all the brains are just not aligned.
That's right.
So, and I had to go through that myself, is that, when I would believe something, why couldn't my mind just suck it up? If I just wanted to
Right.
believe that, I could achieve something, why couldn't I just embody that? Why couldn't I just become it?
Right.
And embodying really is about you really not from a surface level. And this is where I tell people all the time, you can do all the vision boards, you can do all the affirmations, you could do all the subliminals or hypnosis or meditations. But if you're not really going, it's like mowing the lawn, but not pulling the weeds out. You really got to go to the root of, well, this is what I do with clients, is that when they tell me something like in a relationship, for example, they're struggling with relationships. Well, what are your beliefs about relationships that you're not aware of?
That's right.
What do you believe? What are your beliefs about money? What are your beliefs about relationship? What are your beliefs about males and females? What are
Right.
your beliefs about finances?
Right.
So a lot of times we are not even aware of all the beliefs that are running in our field, that are on autopilot, that are replaying, that we're sort of replaying it into the future, that we're not even aware of, right? And we just go through life thinking that if we made all these changes, or if I lost 10 pounds, or if I made more money, or if I got the surgery, or if I just did all these things externally, then I could change the outcome. But you still remain the same
Right.
inside.
Right. You have to grow with the self-image the self-image has to grow at a space level. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really understand, where did you get this belief from? Where did it come from?
Mhm.
You know,
So,
yeah, those are the kind of deep level that I really go deep into. And I know how to do that only for a few reasons. My abilities definitely help accelerate the process, so I don't have to ask you 20,000 questionnaires. I can, so that certainly helps to provide accelerated results. Because I can tap into someone and I could just quickly already start getting visions and see, because I'm clairvoyant. So it kind of helps in the process, where I don't have to go through the traditional process of asking you 20,000 questions. When I sit with a client and I connect to them, I already feel like I can see them,
yeah.
if that helps.
Well,
So
that's wonderful. My wife's very intuitive and empathic also.
yeah,
Well, I love
yeah,
it. I love
yeah.
it.
It's a gift.
It's a
It's a
beautiful
gift,
gift.
and
Yeah.
also, I'm sorry.
It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is. Especially, at times it. Yeah, you know what? I'm deeply grateful, but at times like this, when you have so many lives being lost, and you feel it. You feel it,
Yeah.
and it's hard. I won't say it's hard, but it's emotionally. You have to hold space. You know, and you feel it at a deeper level.
Right. So
And
there's.
for me, I also see it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so it doesn't, sometimes it can be full on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a man named Gendling, Dr. Gendling. He wrote a book called Focusing, and he had a process where he would take, let's say you feel a certain way, but you don't understand that. I feel sad, I don't know why, or I feel empty, I don't know why, or I feel like I'm longing for something, I don't know why. So he would go through a process of finding a word to match to that feeling and bring it out to a different level. And so you would try to do that until finally you'd say, yeah, that's kind of it. And then you would go through the process again and try to get a little bit closer. So he would try to integrate, that the verbal or the knowledge base with the
Yeah.
feeling. So
I
anyway,
know, yeah, no, because it's when you said that, we live in a world, in a third dimensional world, where we're so into these titles and labels, and I feel like words are just so limiting, and labels are also limiting.
yeah,
And I kind of feel, and this is why I say, like, we didn't come to this world to perform. We came here to be, right? We're part of a divine order.
right,
And when we start to confine and conform to these labels or these questions that we try to answer, we leave the truth on the table of who we really are,
right,
right? Because we're trying to fit into these titles, and we don't really allow ourselves to be. This is why I don't like all female groups, or all male groups, or a certain groups. I kind of feel like, okay, I'm constricted. I cannot really have an authentic self-expression of my soul's expression.
yeah,
Because remember, purpose is not what you do, it's who you are born with. I'm born with my purpose. I don't
that's
have
right,
to do anything to, I
that's
just
right,
have to be. I just have to allow my soul to truly be able to align and express it. I came with all my abundance. I was born with it, right? I just came here to access it so I could contribute and play at a bigger level. And the reason I had to go through my life overcoming all these obstacles and learn is that so that I can teach others to
Yes.
come back to
Yes.
themselves,
When you've
right?
had difficulty, you have more than words. You have an experience, and that's a deeper knowing, and that gives you like a whole encyclopedia to work with other people. Experience, yeah, experience
And
is much greater than words.
oh my gosh. And I, for so long I dwelled on my past and I was like, oh, why me? I have a black cloud falling over me. Oh, why does this always happen to me? I had this victim mentality going on. And it was part of my healing, and I honor and I'm grateful for that. And, I remember now when I look back, the stories that I served so long now gets to serve me. you know I am the person I am because of it, and now I get to contribute and be able to help others who bear my truth and whose truth I bear, right?
By the
And that's
things
my
that
soul
you've done,
tribe.
yeah, by the
And that's
things
my soul tribe.
that you had to go through, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, sometimes I feel like, my gosh, it must be only me. Like sometimes it feels like, oh my gosh, it's only me. But you
It's not,
know being able to have all my of course, you never stop growing. And I don't like the question, who are you? I think that's such a that question should not even, I feel like that question shouldn't even exist in any questionnaire, because who are you is not a destination, right? You don't just, I'm not just going to say, well, I'm a clairvoyant, intuitive, visionary coach, and that's it. I'm going to grow from that. I'm going to expand from that. My title is going to change, right? My brand is going to change. I'm going to be version 2.0. I don't know what that's going to look like.
yeah.
I'm going to constantly be, because I'm constantly going to be growing. My personal self growth and development is not going to stop because I'm a healer. So I have to constantly, my level of consciousness has to be raised because I have to raise others with me, right? So, the more clearing and healing I do on myself is the greater energy of healing that I can provide to those people that I work with, right? I can hold space for them. I have a bigger container for them, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You
So,
absolutely cannot
so
help someone else with transformation unless you're
if
transformed. Yeah,
I'm staying constant,
yeah,
right?
right.
So the thing is that, the more layers I peel, the greater contribution I can make to them, and more acceleratedly I can pull them up because I've done the work on myself. So I can know how to just go, dissolve, shift, move ahead in life and accelerate that for you because I've done that for myself. So I don't need to investigate, right? I already can recognize it. I know it. I know what it looks like from 10 miles away. You're done. I mean, most of my clients, honestly, first of all, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm a bit impatient. I do everything at accelerated pace. So
Yeah,
for me, I'm not a believer that healing takes time. I'm not a believer that healing takes forever. I'm not a believer that healing takes months, weeks, days, even a minute, or even a second. It takes a choice. It takes a choice. And the moment you choose you, and the moment you choose to commit to say, I'm done, I can't live like this anymore, I'm done, I'm fed up, I'm just done with it, I just can't live like this anymore.
mhm,
That's when the healing really begins.
right.
Is that you just said, you're going to make the shift. You're going to shift paradigm. That's huge. That's
That
huge.
yeah, that is a shift in the self-image because before your
That is
self-image said, "I have,"
exactly.
yeah,
Because in order for you to become, you have to let go of who you were,
absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
In order for you to become the version of you that has your desires, goals, freedom, love, and this life that you want, you have to be willing to say you're done with the version of you that you were.
Yeah,
You can't live a life of, you can't have 1 foot here and 1 foot backward. You're not moving.
that's right.
And I'm not, and I'm not saying that you have to be completely done with it. There's going to be some residues. There's still, you're constantly growing. Be forgiving to yourself, but you have to. But just, I applaud people that, even my clients who are showing up, the art of showing up, you know, who are committed, who shows up, and who, you know, takes the time and journals and puts in the work into themselves, because it's the best work you're ever going to do, because otherwise you're just going to keep copy and pasting it into your future, your past into your future. You're an autopilot, right? And then you're just going to recycle more of that. And I've been there, you know, I did that for so long. I've even I was one of those really, you know, doing in my masculine energy, being this hustle and bustle of New York, where I was like, okay, I'm done with it. Okay, so what am I going to do? Buy the books, go to seminar, YouTube videos. I'm going to, you know, go to hypnosis. I'm going to do this. I have checked it all off. I had the vision board. I had the affirmations posted all over my room. Every day I woke up. I love myself. I love myself. And I did all of that and wasted so much money and time going into this merry-go-round and trying to deal with that surface and a surface level and pressing it into my brain. That's another level of control.
Yeah.
You're like forcing your brain to believe something where your brain is like, well, you have all these layers of sub-beliefs that you need to peel layers of before you want me to actually believe you love yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because and then you know, so I had to really go to the deep of, you know, where does my self-worth issues come from, you know? And my issues really came from, you know, I was always raised, you know, where I had, you know, I was taught more to give, you know. I thought that giving was receiving, right? I thought that I had to earn it, right? I had to earn it. I had to work hard for it because I grew up in a very Orthodox Muslim background where my family was, you know, the heaven and hell. You know, you have to be a good little Muslim girl. You have to pray 5 times a day. You have to cover. You have to be what God wants you to be. If God is pleased with you, you know, you have to earn His approval. You have to earn His love. You have to earn. So if anything good happened, that meant that I was blessed. If anything
Yeah.
bad happened, oh my God, I got to repent. I have to pay charity. I have to pray harder. I have to ask forgiveness because I'm bad. So, you know, so a lot of my self-worth came from my connection to God. I didn't think He loved me unconditionally, right? I didn't understand what unconditional love was. And of course, there's other things culturally, you know, um, my parents are very strict and rigid. You know, I had to be a certain way to gain their approval and their love. You know, they're very, you know, one of those, and it's not their fault. You know, that's another thing that I had to learn to forgive is that,
Mhm.
you know, they were running on their programming that they received from their parents. It's generational, it's ancestral, it's family.
Right.
You know, it's sort
Yeah.
of like
No matter
so.
what background you grow up in, no matter what it is, part of a
Yeah,
job is to make you fit into society because that is an important thing. But
yeah.
then, that becomes an external shell for you too. So, yeah, we want to fit into society, but our whole journey is fitting into ourselves. Yeah.
Oh
So,
gosh, you know, I mean, it just, you know, yeah, no, absolutely. You know, the word fitting in just really upsets me. I don't like it because I kind of feel like, you know, what does fitting in really mean?
mhm.
Right? That's
Well,
another level of control,
in,
right?
in terms of preserving society, it just means curtailing
Y-
some of your behavior for the sake of society. But that's not.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, when I try to think, because if you look at me, right, you have all these, you know, you have media, you have you know, family, you have friends, all these imprints that are from your culture, religion, media, peers, and then you have thrown in life experiences of dysfunctional family, abuse, divorce, unemployment, poverty, and so many other things. On top of that, if you throw in my abilities, I definitely don't fit in,
Yeah.
you know. So if you just think about that, I mean, just, you know, and then you have to think about like, well, what is it that I was trying to fit in? I wasn't really trying
Right.
to fit in. I just wanted to be accepted.
That's right. As
I
a
just wanted
true
to
individual.
belong somewhere,
Yeah.
right? So fitting in, I don't like that word, and I think that young generation should really be mindful about that. That
Yeah.
the, you know, first, you know, like this is why the education needs to, that consciousness education should be so should happen at a very early age, where kids can attract the right things into their life because of their level of consciousness. And sometimes, we attract so many things that are unfavorable to us because of the beliefs that we hold about ourselves and things that we've been taught throughout our life, right? Why do you attract the broken man, who's not going to commit to you? Or why do you attract certain things? What beliefs do you have about yourself? What about your self-worth issues? There's so many things that we attract into our reality that we really need to ask ourselves, well, how did I attract that? What am I thinking, believing, and feeling that attracted that into my reality? So I feel like before you go out into the world, children really need to learn these fundamental things about themselves and apply this higher level of consciousness principle to be able to better navigate through life and create the life that they really want. How many of us got brainwashed to becoming doctors and attorneys because our parents wanted us to, and then 10 years later we're like, I hate my job, I'm going to go into teaching, right? Or I'm just going to go and become a fitness instructor, right? A fitness trainer. I mean, I'm just saying, like, because our kids are not allowed to truly express their soul desire. They're not aligned to it, right? And I think more young generation really need to harness being alignment with their soul's expression to create opportunities in the world. And we don't allow that. We try to contain them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I left I'm a perfect example. I mean, growing up with my abilities, obviously coming from my cultural background, we didn't talk about it, and I remember my mother always, like, she was like, shh, don't talk about it, don't say it too loud, because it's a woo woo, it's just a witch, and it's against the religion and so many things. So I grew up having to repress my ability. I was scared of my ability.
Yeah.
And I was always the one that was very sensitive and very empath. And I always felt so much love for people. And I was always so, I just wanted to love everybody up. Like, I was like, just love, love, love. And because I could feel people at a deeper level, I could see them. But I didn't have the tools, and nobody has ever, I didn't get the education, because my mom would always like, oh, just pray, it will go away.
Yeah.
Or, we'll take you to a priest and he's just going to pray over you and it's going to be okay. So I would always tell my mom, when I would get visions, premonitions, dreams, everything, all these experiences that I would have, and I would have visits. I think my very first visits was when I was 4 years old. And of course, any child, I freaked out. There's a ghost in my closet kind of thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just, and then I went through, my undergrad and my bachelor's, and throughout my life, I just always never felt like, I always felt like, what's wrong with me? Why am I always like the teacher and the therapist and the counselor for everybody? Why am I everybody's mother? Right? Why am I the designated driver
My
at the
wife is
airport?
just shaking her head. She's really identifying with what we were talking about. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel you.
She,
I'm actually picking up her energy.
I,
I'm picking
I,
up her energy. I am.
I would like her to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, she's welcome to. And it was just very difficult. Um, it was more difficult because I couldn't talk about it. I also didn't know why I struggled, because I never really fit in. Why I loved so deeply, but I was never reciprocated. Why I was giving, 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 and saving the world, and just be the first one to volunteer to love you up and give you everything I have. And I didn't understand why everybody else wasn't feeling the way I was feeling.
If
Why weren't they seeing what I was seeing?
you're a
Because
true
remember, it's in
gifted
my
individual, you never fit in. And everybody's a true gifted individual, so everybody has to have some sense of not fitting in, I think. And yeah, that's telling a beautiful story. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were saying a beautiful story.
I'm saying you're telling a beautiful story. I'm enjoying. listen,
Oh,
listen to your journey here.
it is, you know what, I will have to say, truth has a way. Truth has a way of being beautiful on its own.
Yeah. And,
Because, I think that there's so many young kids out there, maybe younger, who are very gifted that will just remain undiscovered. And they could do so much good in the world, just
yeah.
so much good in the world.
Yes.
Just raise the earth's vibration, emanate more light, heal more people, do more things. And, but, we live in a world where, everybody wants healing, everybody does, but they don't really value the healers, right? They would probably spend money in golf clubs or cigar clubs. They'll put money into so many different things, but they don't invest money into healers, because healers are just going to contribute and show up more, right? They're just going to raise the vibration, because they're going to be able to do more marketing, more investing, create more programs, to go to more speaking engagements, allow you to receive from them, right? And there's an energetic exchange. So as they up level, you up level. As you up level, they up level, and you're raising the energy. Because remember, money is energy, and my energy is energy. So as you raise my vibe, I can raise vibe, and I can heal more people, carry and pick up more people. And I think it's just such a lost concept in our 3D, because we're always looking outside, and we don't really invest the money into where it really matters. And I think that this is when I try to come on Facebook, and I try, and sometimes I'll be honest, I just feel like, so many people don't know how to receive, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And they don't even have the container for it, because they have so much stuff,
And then,
right?
and then
It's almost like it's like almost like, a girlfriend telling me to come to our house, and she lives in a studio apartment, and she has all her stuff, and then she's telling me to come stay with her. And here I am with my luggages, and I'm like, you have no room for me. Where am I going to put my stuff?
yeah.
But she's calling me in, though, right? So if you don't make room, if you don't declutter, if you don't let go of your past beliefs and all those rubbish, layers of rubbish that you're carrying in your field, you have no room to receive what you're trying to call into your life,
Yeah.
right?
But
So, and I think that's just a very basic way I can put into it, because we have so many things that we believe about so many different things, right? And we just kind of like, I mean, figuratively and literally, how many women or men have stuff in their closet that still has tags on it? Okay, that how many people have stuff that they could probably throw away and make physical room? Because every time you declutter physically and mentally, you're making room to invite and make room to receive more. Remember how, energy works. Energy needs containers. It needs some place to go, right? People can only receive you as deep as you can receive yourself. So if you don't do the decluttering and letting go and shifting and dissolving and all this inner work on you, um, you're not going to be able to attract and be a match to what you are trying to call in. And this is the real work. You
yeah.
can have the big picture vision, you can have all these things, and you could do all these steps to bring it closer to you. But if you're not really, doing the inner work
Mhm.
of shifting those things, then you're just not going to be able to call it in, and you're just going to be frustrated, give up, and then say it is what it is. Life is
Yeah.
just unfair.
Right.
Oh,
So
this wasn't for me anyways.
that
You
reminds me of where we were just a little while ago. You were talking about writing down what you really want, and now you're talking about making room for it. So
I
that,
mean, that's a choice though, because it's a self choice that somebody has to make, because you cannot. I never ask people what to do. I never tell them what to do. I invite them to say, okay, if you want to achieve these goals and desires, and you do that, well, what's coming up for you, right? What beliefs and fears are coming up for you? Oh, no, 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 this is too big. Oh, no, I can't ask for that. Oh, that's never going to happen. Or it's not for me. Oh, I would never fit into that. I don't know what's going to come up for you, right? um if you are not able to achieve that and you have limited stuff and all these fears came up to the surface, like just came, so then we need to look into that, right? We need to understand, well, why did this, what are you believing that, so we have, this is where the work really is. It's like it's customized because everybody's different.
Right.
Everybody's beliefs are different. Everybody's life experience and obstacles that they've come is different. Some people have a divorced family, some people have dysfunctional family, some people never met their dad, some people were raised by their grandparents, some people were bullied, some were probably molested and abused, some were, everybody's life story and beliefs are different. Some people probably felt neglected, abandoned, not protected, not wanted, not loved, and not, there's so much that needs to be seen and looked at. That is such a sacred process. That process is so sacred and so valuable, and such a, I always hold such a loving space because I know that, it's such a, to me, the healing is such a beautiful journey. It's not easy. And I applaud anyone who's brave enough to look inward and face their stuff, that stuff, and being able to really, look into that. So this is where the work really is, I would say. I mean, there's so much work, because another thing I realize is that you never really know when you start to peel the layers what's going to come up, right? What hidden stuff they have. People could have, I don't know, I can give so many examples, but I feel guilty doing that because those would be people that I really worked with. But there could be so many hidden stuff that you never gave voice to, that you felt ashamed. You felt you felt ashamed. You were just disgusted, and you were scared. You were afraid of being judged, right? So stuff that they probably never told anyone. Right? So, that the shame and the guilt that they held, it's transpiring in other ways.
And it keeps you from being in that neutral place, that grounded place. It's a distraction. It's a
When you say the word grounded, to me, the word grounded is actually a very positive word for me.
Right. That's what yeah. So negative things keep you from being positive.
Yeah, like I feel like when I'm in a grounded place, I am sort of inward, I'm more centered, I'm more in my heart, I'm more, calmer, I'm more in a receiving mode, I'm more tapped into, connected to my soul. So grounded is, Mother Nature is grounding. Like when you go out and walk in the woods, is very grounding because it's balanced energy, it's harmony, it's peaceful, right?
Right.
So for me, so people who are, walking through life with all this layers of hidden blocks and limitations and blind spots, um, when we, it's really not grounding, right? It's just not a lack of awareness, right? Because, when I look at grounding, I'm thinking about someone who's really understands what grounding is and how to ground themselves and how to really come back to themselves and how to, align back to themselves quickly, recognize, okay, I'm in this energy, I don't like this, let me come back to myself, let me come home, and quickly recalibrate back to yourself. But I feel like so many of us can't even receive the conversation we're having right now. So many people are just going through this mundane or whatever life, that they have, not realizing that, they're in control and they can make the changes they want in their life and harness their inner power, right? Harness their strength.
Right.
And we give that away. We give that away so much throughout our life to everything that happens.
I see myself doing that frequently.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, because it's important, and this is another control that comes into that. Is that's the level of awareness. Is when you're reacting, you're giving your power away, right? So we're so fast to react, and in this is when you're kind of like, you just literally gave your power away because you decided to react however way. So you have to be mindful about, before I react, I need to really look into myself as to, how did I become a match to that, right? How was I a vibrational match to that? And I constantly, and trust me, the work never stops, but it just gets easier, right? It becomes a little bit of, it's like a trained muscle. When you pick up at the gym, like you gain muscle. This is like another conscious muscle that you just sort of do, where as you do more of it, over time, you become quicker at coming back, snapping back, right? You become quicker at saying, nope, doop, 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 come right back.
Yeah,
Nope, I'm not available for this.
yeah, definitely.
Like yeah, no, I've gotten rid of so many people in my life, um, that, when you get to a certain level, right away, we're not aligned. We're just not aligned. And I'm not going to give you, a therapy session. I'm not going to be your counselor. We're just not aligned. And I'm so sorry. I'm drained. I'm depleted. And I just can't do this. I
Yeah,
just can't. I'm not available for this.
right.
And I'm sorry, but I'm just not available for this. If there is no energetic exchange, then I'm sorry, I cannot be available for this.
Yeah,
Right? Because everything is about balance. If you're just giving, 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 and you're serving from your cup when you should be serving from your saucer, right? You're really depleted. You're doing it in disservice to yourself, right? And then you feel like there was no there was no energetic exchange. So now you're imbalanced, right? And now you're feeling this low vibration of feeling like, I'm drained, I'm depleted, I need to charge back up, I need to do self-love, I need to really love myself because this person just took from me and didn't even reciprocate what I was giving them, right? I mean, you have to really think about everything in life is balance,
right, right. So,
right?
yeah, so that you talked about raising children so that they begin to esteem themselves and seek what what their own wonder is within themselves and what they aspire to. And so you just said something about giving and feeling empty, and that person didn't even reciprocate. So that's an interesting thing too. When you have kids, very often they want a relationship with somebody, and so there's a very beginning place where they can learn balance in their lives. And if they want to be reciprocated all the time, that can produce a lot of disappointment. So
That reciprocation doesn't necessarily mean it has to be, it's what it is. It could, to some people, it could just be, thank you so much for sharing your gift with me. Or it could be buying a cup of coffee. I'm not saying it has to happen. It's not a matter of, I always say this, the best example I can say is that you go to Starbucks, you buy a cup of coffee, you pay for it, and you still tell the guy, thank you.
right, right,
So being polite is not giving. Giving is giving. And giving is when you give at free will
right,
and you receive at free will.
yeah,
I'm not going to do something without my free will. When you asked me to come today, you didn't say I have to.
no,
And I knew that I didn't have to.
mhm.
I came on my free will. That itself is an energetic exchange, right?
Yes, and I so
So
appreciate it too.
yeah, so to me, it's not, this is the same thing with the balancing of the masculine and femininity, right? Again, the balancing. It's not so much about you know, you're having expectations, right? I had no expectations when I came here today. I just know that I'm a spiritual teacher, and I love to share everything that I've learned in my journey and from the higher realm, everything that they've taught me. And I try to unpack the information, put it into a digestible content, and put it out into social media for people to gain awareness, right? To gain a level of consciousness, and really come back and understand the importance of inner work. Because let's put it this way, right? I always say that there's a reason why you go to a generalized doctor versus you go to a specialized doctor,
Mhm.
right? And I cannot, even the best brain surgeon cannot perform surgery on themselves,
That's right.
right? Even though I'm a coach, even I need a coach because I need somebody to catch my blind spot.
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, you have to really, I think that the new um, leadership in the world has to be from that place of vulnerability, from that place of honesty, from that place of that's where leadership is, and not that, oh, I have it all figured out and I'm perfect and I never make mistakes and I always have the answers. That's ego. That's not a conscious leader, right?
Right. Right.
We need more conscious leadership where we understand human mind and conscious principles to apply that into leadership.
We
Because what
certainly,
works is vulnerability. What works is honesty, right? What works is being human. What works is balance, right? That's the kind of leadership that we need into the world. And I love what I do, and I'm very open about the fact that I really don't understand the business aspect of it. I love working with people. I love educating, imparting wisdom, gaining the level of awareness so that people can understand the importance of saying, I'm trying to do all these things. I'm not for everyone, by the way. A lot of people can't receive me. They probably can't understand or receive me, or not ready to receive me. They have to go through their journey to arrive at a certain place where they can receive from me. And then I know that I have a soul tribe, obviously, who are a vibrational match to me, who I can definitely serve, who bears my truth and my stories and have overcome similar things to me. um, that I can help, to move ahead and have these breakthroughs and move ahead in life. Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
And as far as the kids you were mentioning, the whole thing about reciprocation versus being polite versus giving. Giving is free will.
Right.
Giving and receiving is free will, but somehow in this world it became, being attached to expectations and outcomes and controlling to
Yeah.
receive that.
Yeah. So that's that. Now,
That's what it is. And that's where we have to really sort of provide that education to children as to how it really works,
right.
right? It's not a unilateral approach. It
Right.
really works by you first giving to yourself and not coming from a place of bucket empty where I'm asking someone else to fill that bucket,
Right. So
right? So mhm.
that I think we kind of comes full circle on a couple points there, because you were earlier talking about writing down what you wanted, and that increases your awareness, because now you've written it down, and now you see where you align with that and where you don't. So now you're getting another layer of awareness, and then now you're talking about expectations again. So could you maybe wrap this up a little bit by talking about having expectations without having expectations? If you know what I mean, you have the things that you wrote down that you know you want, but you're not hanging on to expectations that are holding you back.
They're very separate. So they're
Yes,
very separate.
yes, they are.
They're very separate. So when you have goals and visions, I don't really look at them as expectations. Those are your desires.
That's good. Yeah. So
Those are your desires, right?
one
Those are
person
your
I know
desires.
called those. One person I know called those your unavowed dreams. So you have a dream, but you can't even put words to it.
I call them
It
your
just comes.
heart's I call them your heart's desire.
Yeah,
I just
same
call them
thing.
desires.
Same thing.
And they're gonna change. They're gonna change, and they're allowed to change, because the
Yeah.
thing is that maybe I don't know, maybe I wanted to live here in Spain, and now I just thought about moving to Italy. I mean, they're fluid. Your desires are fluid, but it's important to at least have an idea of, okay, like, you'd be surprised. And I don't know how many people I work with, the people on this. You'd be surprised how many people can't ask for what they really want.
Yeah.
They can't even ask.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge. That's why I started with that, because if you can't even ask, then you can't receive.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So you'd be and that's why I always start with, what are your challenges? What do you want? Right? What is it that you want?
Yep.
And they will say something from their mind, right? And because they're disconnected. And sometimes you have to learn how to peel back the layers. And you need some place to start. And then you start to layers and layers and layers where they're totally connected to that vision. And by the time they get here, whatever they said they initially wanted, they go back and they see it looks very different.
Yeah.
So you need a place to start, right? You need a place to start, and then peel back the layers and not make assumptions, because I'm not automatically assuming you have so much rubbish. I don't do that. I don't
Yeah.
come with that. I just ask, well, what is it that you want? What are your challenges? What are you trying to overcome? What you would like to work through? What is the most important thing to you right now? you know um so I try to peel back the layers based on where they are feeling at the moment. There's no one size fit all approach, because healing is such a I went through that myself. I don't know if you read any of my content. I mean, I went through that, all of it, just on my own. And I know that and I didn't have a lot of this education, and I had to, I'm a self-taught person. And then having to navigate and learn my abilities and how to really take that and express that into the world. Combining my own healing journey and my own personal growth and development, and take my abilities and be able to combine and bring that into the world to provide people, accelerated results. Um, so I had to learn about merging all that different parts of me, because for so long I was living a life of duality. I didn't fully embrace it, right? I repressed it. I ran away from it. And then top of that, overcoming life. So so that's where I kind of learned that this journey is so sacred, and it's such a beautiful journey that you really have to hold a container for someone, and without judgment, without expectations, without assumptions, and just unconditional love container where they feel safe, where they feel that they can express and be themselves. And it's so important when you're going through this healing journey. It's such a raw and vulnerable process of surrendering to the process, that you really need to allow that to happen, and not correct them, not tell them how to be, not like judge them, or not input your opinions into that. It's you have to be very I don't want to use the word careful, but you just have to allow them to clear, allow them to release, allow it to come up and witness it, and there's a process to that. And that's where I kind of feel like this is where my gift comes in, where I have to come back centered and really hold space.
Yeah.
Right. And because I can really see what's happening, and I know that I can hold the energy, and they have my energy vibration, and when they're coming at a certain vibration, I can hold that. Right. I can hold my light energy and balance the energy. So much people about some of the way that different healers have different abilities, of course, but yeah. And I constantly, if you were to look at my room, I'm constantly doing work on myself, constantly reading a book, constantly doing my own journaling every day, doing the work, leaning into resistance, there are times when I'm absolutely like, I can't do this anymore. I have of course, I'm human, but, you really think about, I'm still here. I still have a chance and to make an impact, to influence, to inspire, to illuminate, to awaken human consciousness. And I feel aligned with that.
Taslima, I didn't know what to expect either, but this has been a wonderful conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I really feel like I touched someone special here. And I want to
Thank you
thank you
so
again.
much.
Yeah, I really want to thank you again. It's been great. And I want to give you an opportunity to tell people how they can contact you to work with you.
Well, they can find me through you.
Yes.
or definitely my Facebook. I think my name is there. Again, when you post it, I think people can find me. They can message me. I can definitely shoot over my website. I also have several programs going on where I teach people. They're short programs, and I have my signature VIP program that I've developed for, well, it can be both male or female, that are going through, those low self-esteem, divorce, heartbreak, rejection, insecurities, and a lot of things that people have gone through or are going through, that I work through because, I'm having gone through it myself. So that's one of my signature program where I help you to kind of, regain your personal strength and align to your vision and create opportunity for the world.
Wow. Okay. So your Facebook page is what?
Taslima Akhter, Akhter, and my first name is Taslima.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Taslima, we'll cut off the meeting here, but I want to thank you, and I really hope that we can stay in touch.
We definitely will. We're Facebook friends, and thank you so much for reading my content and even finding me. So I really am thankful about that, and thanks for having me today. And I want to also say hello to your wife for holding space for me.
Yeah.
And she's more than welcome to reach out, and we can definitely talk.
Maybe she will. That's up to her, but I hope so. Yeah. So thank you very much. It's been special. And I hope we can continue the conversation some more in the future.
Sure. Yeah. Constantly growing. So.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
You too.
And
Bye.
blessings to your work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I receive.